Played a National Master this morning, and I used a sort of modified version of what I call the fortress defense, where you put the bishops basically in front of the king and queen, and the knights come out. One comes out normally, and one usually comes in front, and the pawns end up usually higgledy-piggledy, but the pawns only generally move one move or two moves, but they both move together. So you can either move them two moves and then you put the bishops behind the pawns, or you move them one move and put the bishops in front of the king and queen. So this is what I call this is a modified fortress defense.
Check.
And I'm blocking with the knight so that I can just clone it.
Check.
So that I can choose what to capture with. Could choose to capture with the bishop or the knight. Capture with the bishop actually this time, because what I love about the fortress defense is the idea of having the bishops in the middle, because then they have two lines instead of one. Fianchetto, the bishops, yes, they have the long diagonal, but they actually don't cover as many squares as you can cover from where you are now. Look at my dark bishop, for example. It can capture on 7 squares. When you are on the long diagonal, you can only capture on 6 squares. That goes all the way to the corner. Anyway, so here we are. Look, queen comes out early, and I thought, okay, so you are obviously overconfident. I know you're a national master, but you're bringing the queen out because basically you think it's easy to beat me because I'm only a Class A player. So I'm going to try to punish you for bringing your queen out, and I usually enjoy punishing people for bringing their queen out, and I very often win their queen. I wouldn't expect to against a national master, but I would expect to make him waste moves running the queen around. That's the other idea, you see, is that as you run the queen around the board, she wastes moves, and black already doesn't have the move. I mean, white has the move. So
Kinside castling.
look how soon I've castled, for example, with 3 pieces developed.
Kinside castling.
So he's well behind. And now I'm getting ready to give the queen a nice little scare. So, yeah, this was an unusual move for me, but this is something I've started to quite enjoy doing, is just bringing the cannons over to one side, like that, and firing them up one side. It's a super powerful idea, because those 2 pawns in front of the cannons really can bear like the cannonballs. Incidentally, the cannons, that's what they call them in India. And I just ignored that pawn capture and went straight for the queen. And again, and this skewers it through to the rook. He has to recapture.
Check.
And I still ignore the pawn that's actually already on prise. Capture it like that. I think possibly that was wrong, because my queen and my knight are both hanging, and they're both potentially attackable by pawns. I don't think that was quite right. I felt like the confident move should have been to use the queen to recapture that, but I just didn't like the idea for some reason of getting my queen in the middle of the board with his 2 pawns there. So she comes back to here, but this means I've got to do a lot of arse covering as far as my pieces are concerned. So now they're all covering each other. Now we're fine again. Although he could have captured that pawn. I don't know why he didn't. He could have captured that. Then he's a pawn up and he's threatening my queen, but I don't know why he didn't do that. So instead, again, he just brings the queen out overconfident, I think. I mean, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to sort of do a revealed attack on my knight for later or something. But I just... See, this is the trouble. If you use the queen as an attacking piece early in the game, if she's attacked by anything less than a queen, in other words, almost everything, it doesn't matter what else you've got planned. You've got to waste moves running to safety. So again, look, running to safety. Meanwhile, the moves that I'm making could actually be developing my game rather nicely. Although it leaves my bishop hanging, as you see, it's attacking his bishop with check, and I kind of wondered in the back of my mind whether he would see it or not. I thought he might not, and he didn't. Instead, he goes for the attack. He's looking for checkmate. He's looking for something really big here, you see. And
check.
course, I've got to keep checking him or something. Now, it was very tempting
Check.
to do this and go for the rook, but I realised that he did have an attack pending down at the bottom.
Check.
So I had to keep my queen on the dark squares for now, so that if his king
Check.
should run here, I can get him like
Check.
this and I can get back into the game again.
Check.
But he blocked with the knight instead. And then I did this, which was actually completely stupid because he'd just capture that. But
Check.
he didn't see it. I think he was too busy doing his own attack. And in any case, he's got my bishop there, so he goes for the bishop instead. And I grab the knight and he recaptures. So it's kind of, yeah, he's won a piece back. We're even, except for the fact that I got a rook for a knight. And obviously, if you're playing against a national master, a knight is a scary piece, because it can do all those forks. But then, look, I've got some nasty things here, like his queen's in line with his king. I've got rooks firing up at her. Wonderful position as it happens. So where's she going to go now? Well, I can get rid of that pawn. That's quite nice. Now he attacks again using the knight to support the rook, and I just come here and I'm back on those black diagonals, which is exactly where I want to be. I want to be on the black lines. That's where his king is. He grabs a pawn here. It's pretty consequential. And now this is a dangerous move for him. I'd have thought it would have made sense for him at this point to start blocking my queen's lines like this, but instead he's looking for a back rank. He's hoping to get some sort of back rank check, I think. But I just plan. So the question is, what do I do now? Kind of out of ideas. Well, the one thing I want to make sure of is that he can't back rank me. This C1 square, I had to cover it, so I've covered it like that. That's covering this square here, so that I've covered it enough times so that there's no way he can back rank me, because again, it's a bit of a race against time. I haven't had time to do a little move where I put my king. My king doesn't have an escape route yet, and he does this like offering the queen, and this was a very, very foolish move because I had this with check, and that pretty much was a game finisher for him. He captures now. Of course, a national master, yes, he might have a chance of running a pawn home quickly. That's always a worry. But
check.
I've got this now, and in fact, he can't defend that knight, and this has got to be a resigning position, which it was. Obviously, there's nothing he can do here. Nothing at all. He could try and run this pawn home, but he's still going to come across this, and even after this.
Check. Check.
I've simply got this, and it doesn't matter what he tries to do with this one.
Check.
You can try and get in front of it or something, but the thing is,
check.
What you can do then,
check.
Just come here, and he either goes there so that he can't move it forward, and you just pop back, and he comes here again, just go there again, and if he doesn't go in front of it, which blocks it, if it go there, which allows you to pretty much capture it in a minute, or he could go here, which that's the one way he can walk it home. But then you've got things like that, and again it's like where can he really go realistically? So that was a national master. Let's just go back to the end position. There it is. Great little game. Fortress defense.